Give me the first time I met you was in Detroit.
You remember that?
Yeah, you showed up fresh out of college and took batting practice off our good friend Dick Drzewiecki. You remember that day?
Oh, of course I do. I took a lot of crap that day. I know that.
Probably from me.
Well, you, Lance. I remember Lance as well. But yeah, actually, they tried to sneak me in for a private batting practice session because I was actually a junior in college at the time, playing football. Went out to baseball just to enhance my position in the NFL. And here I go out and play my junior year at Michigan State. And next thing I know, I'm thinking about getting drafted the first round by the Tigers, my hometown team that I'd watched, play for so many years. The K-Lines, the Hortons, the Freehands, the McLeans, the Loliches, Norm Cash. And now I'm with the new guys, the Morrises, the Parishes, the Trammels, the Whitakers, Tommy Brookins, Danny Petrie. And so I came down there, and I hadn't hit with a wood bat in I don't know how long, so I'm in there scrapping around the bat rack, get a wood bat, and Trixie threw me some BP, and he figured out where my swing was.
Yeah,
he
you
just
were
laid it there.
launching him against the upper deck and up and over the rope.
285 feet into the upper
and
deck.
I'm thinking to myself, this guy for a football player, we might need him.
Yeah, but I remember hearing Lance say, "Throw him a breaking ball." I thought we were supposed to be teammates, but yeah. And then of course I got drafted, and we have many more stories after that.
Yeah.
The pitch, he swings, and there's a fly ball to left. Here comes Herndon. He's there. He's got it. The Tigers are the champions of 1984.
You get to the big leagues. I remember that day, and we're not a good team at that point. We were a young team that was climbing the ladder, but we weren't ready yet. And I always like to tell my friends about the fact that after a while, guys like yourself and me and Lance, of course, Tram and Lou. We finally looked around and looked across the field and said, we can beat those guys. Did you see it the same way? Yeah,
I do. I thought we were good, but then we realized, I don't know if you remember, in '81, we had the strike year, and then we came back and played the second half, and we had to beat the Brewers 3 out of 3 or 2 out of 3, and they beat us. I think Sparky said, sit here and watch them celebrate, and we did. I did, and I didn't like that. That hurt, and then, of course, in '84, we put it all together. But, so many things have to go right for you. I think the thing about us as Tigers is we came up together little by little. I was one of the later guys. You were in '77. Was that your first year? Yeah. '77. Tramp came shortly after that. But, you just kind of learn, and then we got Sparky. And, not only did we have to learn how to play baseball, we had to learn how to be men. We had to learn our obligation to the game and how to do it the right way. And, sometimes, and this happens certainly as a manager, is, when you get in a competition, sometimes you try and do too much, and you try and do it on your own, and it just never works. And, I remember we used to fight with Sparky because the ball would be hit the outfield in the first 5 innings, and he'd say, throw it to second base if a guy on second, score. Everything that I was taught, you don't want to let the guy score. But, he knew that the percentages that we now know, 4 or 5% of the guys actually get thrown out at home, average in the major leagues, okay? So he knew that, and, it just took you time to understand the reason you do that. You throw it to second, you concede the run in the first 5 innings, but you stop the guy at first base and make him get 2 hits to get him in. And just, you start to buy into the philosophies of the game, and then you get more efficient, and then all of a sudden, it's not being as hard, and the game's just come to you much easier, and I think it took us a little bit of time to do that.
There's 2 kinds of manager. One that ain't very smart. He gets bad players, loses games, and gets fired. There was somebody like me that I was a genius. I got good players, stayed out of their way, let them win a lot, and then just hung around for 26 years. It was a lot of fun.
What were some of the things that he told you at that, those influential years that made you become what you became?
Yeah, I think the big one for me was he asked me where Babe Ruth was one day. I was still a bit confused by it. And I said, well, he's passed away. And he says, exactly. In the game, we got a game tonight, don't we? He says, when I leave the game, when you leave the game, when Jack Morris leaves the game, there will be a game.
Yeah.
When the fans leave the game, there is no game. The game will always go on.
1 out, bases empty. The 2-1 pitch to Gibson. There's a belt to left. That's gone. Let's watch it. Where is it? Is it out of the park? Yes. It's out of Tiger Stadium.
How about this one? Do you remember we used to have to run those 4 laps before spring training?
Yeah, we used to compete.
I want to see if he tells the truth on this one. Huh? What do you remember about that?
I remember that I'd always get off to a good lead, and then I'd hear these footsteps, and, you know, it was thunder. It was, you know, Bo Jackson and you combined with big old feet coming slapping behind me, and you'd beat me by 100 yards and turn around and say, Jackson, you're never going to beat me.
Yeah, you and Mark Fidrich, right? But
he was pretty good, too.
Yeah, the thing about that was, you remember the late Gates Brown. He told me one day, it's the first thing we did. We'd come out, it'd be like 8:30 in the morning. We'd run 4 laps around the field.
Just to get loose and then do our calisthenics.
And then do our stretching, okay? Which is very reversed now, yeah. And so I remember one day my calves were so sore because, you know, I'd always say, I'm just going to take it easy. But then we get going and we start competing against each other. So one day Gates Brown says, he used to call me Pipe. He said, Pipe, you know, throw the race today. They took you off the board in Vegas. I can't bet on you anymore. So I said, okay, I'm just going to take it easy. So, you know, I was really hurting. So I took 1 lap, and it's still hurting. Took 2 laps. I started to get loose. 3 laps was a little better. Started to stride out a little bit. And, of course, 4 laps, I had to come get you guys.
Yeah, you had to come
But I used to try and run by you and go, bye.
Got him swinging, and he has his no-hitter.
I remember a couple times hearing this voice out in right field, throw a strike! Get it over, challenge somebody, what are you picking for?
Or where? Jack would be pounding on the mound, and we'd be, where?
Don't worry, Jack.
I say, Daryl, get in there.
We'll get you 5 next inning.
Yeah, Jack, my favorite was, I've never lost with 10, as he gave up 6 in the first inning.
And I
never lost with 10.
Never did, ever.
Yeah. You know, people can't appreciate that. You know, what I remember about you is we were common. It was just about winning.
Yeah.
You know, you'd give up 5 runs, and if we had a 5-run lead, you had to give up a couple to get 9 innings. You would do it, and I always admired that. And I remember we'd be up in by 10, 11 runs, and I'd say, Sparky, I'm going to try to hit this one out of the King Dome. He'd go, oh, no, Gibby, don't do that, don't do that. And I'd do it. I mean, I must have did it 50 times. She said, never, you're always going to come back and see me. And not Jeff Nelson, the Seattle Nelson. Jeff Nelson?
Yeah. Right-hand pitcher.
I
He works
cranked
for us.
one on the 3rd deck in right center field. And I told him, he says, it's not out of the park, though. But, yeah, we had a good time doing it.
Yeah, we did.